Alright, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another one of our Guild Wars 2 guides where we pretty much talk about everything there is to talk about in terms of DPS numbers. This is very much a rating guide and fractals and strikes. It's like heavily PvE focused. I'm sure PvP and World vs. World would have different things, but this is going to show you the rotation, how to do optimal DPS, and have like the abilities for that. Obviously in PvP would be very different case, so if you're a raider, if you're a fan of raiding, Reaper kicks some major ass. It does a lot of damage, it has a lot of cleave, a lot of AoE, and it shreds. And we're going to showcase a lot of those things here today, with how to basically play this class as a whole. And I know, before I continue on, it has been a while since we've made a guide. I know, it's been a long time. But I figured now is a better time than any. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV recently, and you know what? Reaper is a class in Final Fantasy XIV that's coming in Endwalker, so I feel like a lot of peeps might get might be big fans of Reaper in Guild Wars 2. So we're gonna talk about that. Hopefully maybe even introduce Guild Wars 2 to the FF14 community that we have established now, and kind of get a nice feel of the class. So the first things we're going to be talking about is immediately we're diving into the equipment, which is going to be very easy to get because Berserker stats are pretty easy to get, and there you have it. Everything you see here is Berserker stats with Rune of the Scholar. And then obviously +9 Agi resistance if you're going to do Fractals. It's just that simple. Everything is Berserker stats. Everything here is Rune of the Scholar, right? Greatsword, Superior Sigil of Force, Superior Sigil of Impact. Berserker Greatsword, right? Berserker Axe with Sigil of Force. Berserker Warhorn with Sigil of Impact. You're probably wondering, why are we going Warhorn? It's for the CC that it gives on its 4 offhand and 5 for the swiftness. This can easily be swapped out if you need Boon Strip or whatever. You can go Focus, but you can choose based on whatever you wish. But the Daze is nice on this. It can prove useful in a lot of situations where you need CC. So I would highly recommend that, especially with your Axe 3 as well. It gives you Fear. And Cripple, and like a little bit of extra CC. Sorry, not Fear, by the way, I meant to say Cripple. Cripple is the CC effect. Everything else in the accessories and backpack, they are all Berserker stats as well. So it's that simple. Everything you see here is Berserker stats. This class focuses heavily on power, doing lots of DPS, and maintaining life force. The one main thing about this class is you gotta know how to maintain your life force. If you deplete your life force completely and not make optimal usage of it, you're gonna obviously lose DPS. Now, in some bosses, in some raids, you can maintain the life force very easily by things surrounding you dying. So if there are mobs and stuff like that in a raid boss, you can make so much use out of life force there. A good thing I can tell you is, a good example I can tell you is in Slothosaur. There are little slublings. You can kill them, or if they die generally, you will get life force. It's that simple. So play around that. Whenever the opportunity arises, play around that. Here are my skill set for the build. We go Spite, Soul Reaping, Reaper. First spot is obviously Shroud skill grants 1 might, pretty self-explanatory. First one is deal increased strike damage to foes with no boons. Focus and axe skills recharge faster. You mainly like this for the axe recharge. You can use a focus if you want for boosters, but I like the axe for the daze and the swiftness, which CC is generally really good to have in raids. So you never know when the moment comes where you're going to use a flesh golem and then you need this weapon swap to get a daze in. It's not necessarily your job, by the way, so don't panic and be like, oh shit, I really got a CC. It's not your main job. Your main job is to do DPS and use your golem elite skill for the CC whenever applicable. But if you risk like losing DPS because you swapped weapon when you shouldn't have swapped weapon mid-rotation just to do a daze. Just do the golem, it's enough. Don't weapon swap and literally lose out on your rotation. You will lose DPS. Remember that your job is DPS. Don't focus so hard on CCing. Swap if you need to while you're doing the rotation, because there is a weapon swap in the rotation as well. And in Life Force, there is when you enter Shroud form, you also have CC. So keep this in mind moving forward. You deal increased strike damage while downed, inflict vulnerability when you strike a foe below the health threshold. This is really nice because vulnerability means you do more damage. More damage is really nice for you because you're a Reaper. So big happy days for that. Awaken the Pain. Might grants you more power and less condition damage. You gain might when entering Shroud. Pretty self-explanatory. The moment you enter Shroud, you have more damage. And you don't care about Condi damage because you're not exactly a Condi-focused build, Condi-focused Reaper. You're just going for damage. Gain might when you strike a foe below the health threshold. At 50% health threshold, you simply gain might when striking a foe below the health threshold. So there's a lot of health threshold kind of traits here that you're looking for, and that's kind of what you want to aim for, because it's going to add a lot of burst damage, especially with how big raid health pools are. This will increase your DPS by quite a lot. And finally, the last trait in Spite would be Close to Death. I love this one. This one, you deal increased strike damage to enemies, but also below the health threshold at 50%. By 20% damage increase. Literally, you can never go wrong with this. I mean, you have multiple factors where the health threshold is at 50% and you're dealing increased damage. It only makes sense to go for this because your strike damage will be way higher, especially when you enter Shroud form, where you basically have permanent quickness. You're not relying on others to give you quickness when you're in Shroud form, because it gives you self-quickness for the entire duration. Not only are you going to be attacking really fast, but you're also dealing a lot of damage based on health threshold. So this is overall a solid example. A solid example to do the most amount of DPS right here as the skill slots for Spite. 100% God tier. Soul Reaping is the next one. Increase the amount of life force gained from all sources. This will always be good because your DPS literally comes from life force. It's your primary source of damage and it's going to be very useful. So always I recommend going Soul Reaping, just literally to get that effect even. And there's more to come with it that makes it even more valuable. Shroud skill 1 inflicts vulnerability. You're literally going to be holding down 1 for the majority of your rotation. And so having skill 1 where you can constantly apply vulnerability on the boss, which makes it so that they receive more damage across the board, not just to you, for your whole team. So imagine that. You're not just like helping yourself do more damage, but you're helping the team also do more damage. This one's a no-brainer, easy pick. Next one is Shroud skills gain reduced recharge, a solid one right here because since you're mainly going to be using Shroud skills, having a reduced cooldown means that the meowing is so annoying. Let me move away. Goodness. These kitty golems love to meow. What can I say? Goddamn. Over Final Fantasy, you got dummies. Here you have kitties. So there you have it. Okay, so having reduced cooldown is very important for your rotation as well, because you're going to use your F1 and 4 a lot. Like F1 4 is going to be used so much. It's going to be your spin damage. You're going to be spinning a lot. Every time you enter Shroud form, you're going to be spinning, and that spin does a lot of damage. And then you're literally just going to be holding down 1. It's a very basic DPS class that is very good and generally does good DPS. It's not like peak DPS class, but it's so easy to get into and just have fun with it. It's never a class where you're just gonna like underperform unless you like play poorly. Like every class, if you play poorly, you're gonna suck, of course. But the thing about Reaper is that the learning curve isn't like steep, or rather high, as if this is the correct term I'm saying here. Its learning curve is not so high, and you can just kick ass and just have fun. The rotation is fairly simple as well, which I'll explain after I finish the traits. So yeah, reduced recharge means just overall more 4s, and that's exactly what you want. Soul Barbs. Entering or exiting Shroud increases all damage dealt for a duration, and you're going to be exiting and entering Shroud a lot. So try to optimize your damage every time you enter and leave Shroud. The fun fact is, for the most part, you're basically in Shroud for 10 seconds before it depletes. So having this is so nice because you're increasing your damage for free, basically. Every time you exit and leave Shroud. It's a no-brainer for me. This one's an easy pick. Soul Barbs kicks ass. It does the highest DPS out of those other two. Maximum Life Force is increased for Soul Battery. This one is incredible. Having maximum Life Force means entering Shroud more often, exiting Shroud, and then you're just gonna have like a longer time staying in Shroud, which is definitely something you want to have. So you literally get this for free by going Soul Reaping, which is exactly why we go Soul Reaping, is because it's just incredible now with just life force efficiency, but also having a little extra DPS increases across the board. And here's the last one. I love this one. You gain increased critical chance and ferocity when in Shroud. Literally insane. Just think about this. Every time you enter life force, right, you gain increased crit chance and ferocity. You're literally shredding, and if you have spotter, you're just gonna be crazy like with crit. And just to show you guys real quick, I'm currently not in life force, right? I'm going to go into life force right now. This is at 80%. It is now at a whopping 113% crit chance. You literally always crit. It's the easiest decision you can ever go with. Making every single hit crit means that you're just gonna be shredding. You're gonna be doing a lot of damage. You don't even necessarily need spotter. Spotter, by the way, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, spotter is the increased precision by up to 100 points. It's given to you by the druid usually, or whatever. Soul Beast can also go spotter, but you don't even need that as Reaper. The only time you may need spotter is if you're not in Shroud form, you get 80%. But that's besides the point, because most of the time your main damage comes from being in Shroud form, so keep that in mind. But regardless of that, if you do end up having spotter in your group, feels good, man. You know, why not? Give me that extra precision. Fantastic, right? But just remember that your main DPS is gonna come inside Shroud form. The best thing about Reaper is that it's self-sufficient. You give yourself permanent quickness when in Shroud form, and you give yourself basically over 100% crit chance, which is basically guaranteed every single hit to crit. It's crazy, like a lot of DPS going down there. And you're probably wondering, how do you get permanent quickness in Reaper? I'll get to that right now with the trait under Reaper. So assume the form of Reaper and gain new skills, turning your life force into health. Death Shroud is replaced with Reaper's Shroud, which has more melee-oriented skills and consumes the life force at a faster rate. Gain access to shouts as well. You don't care too much about the shouts that could maybe come into PvP and stuff like that, but the main thing is here, it just tells you like now you have a Reaper Shroud, which is the new thing you're going to have instead of Necro. Chilling Nova is the next one. Creates a Nova at the target that damages and chills nearby foes. You like this because it's extra DPS as you're hitting the target. It just creates a Nova at the target and it damages and chills. More DPS is always good, so get that. The other two, I feel, are not exactly DPS increases. Like this one, for example, Shouts gain reduce recharge, siphon health. You're not using Shouts. You're not using any of that, so this is the only real good option, I feel, because it just gives you extra DPS. Here it says whenever you inflict fear, you also chill. So having that as a free option, because you literally can't change it, it comes with it. But whenever you inflict fear, you pretty much also chill. Not exactly your primary trait, but it's nice to have regardless. And here's Soul Eater. Striking foes within the range threshold deals increased strike damage and heals you for a portion of the damage dealt. Healing will not occur while life force replaces health. So right here it just tells you, like, if you strike a foe within the range threshold of 300, you will deal increased strike damage, which is basically the whole time. You're literally going to be in melee range the whole time, even as you're using your axe too. You're going to be in melee range. You should try to be in melee range as much as possible, unless you're forced to basically be out of it or something like that. Oh, or be out of the range. Just try to gap close and get closer. Chills last longer, and chilled foes take increased strike damage from your attack, which is why this one is good, because when you inflict fear, you also chill, so it's a welcomed addition, especially in your Shroud 3-3. It will basically also chill as you fear. So this basically is just a damage increase by 15%, duration increase by 20%. A solid addition. Now the best trait I think is this one. Oh man, let me just talk about this. You gain ferocity, right? And quickness while in Reaper's Shroud. Hitting with Life Reap reduces the recharge time of Shroud skills. Now this is Life Reap. Okay. Life Reap is the third hit in your auto attack chain. It's the boom boom Life Reap. Okay. So Life Reap is gonna make you very happy. So just that's why exactly the rotation is we hold down 1 for the most part. So it's just that simple. Hitting people with it reduces the recharge time of your shroud skills. It's that simple. And yeah, it pretty much gives you free ferocity. You get over 100% critical chance from this death perception. Not only do you have crit chance, you have crit damage, you have permanent quickness. Reaper is a very self-sufficient DPS class that is basically able to kick a load of ass by just pressing buttons. And it feels great because you still, by the way, if you're not in Shroud form, you still need quickness, you still need alacrity. Alacrity cannot be given to you like just for free. You need an alacrity in your team to pulse alacrity. You need alacrity. You need those things that you... I'm not saying like you shouldn't have these other stuff helping you with boons. Like you definitely need those. You need alacrity. You need might generation. You need all those things. So don't think, oh, I can just go in and be fine and not need those things. You 100% need them. The whole group needs them. We need boons. You need quickness because every time you're out of Shroud form, you have those things that will help you deal more damage. Whereas you're not going to be like Shroud form the whole time, so it's a different case scenario. But what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to show you guys the full rotation of Reaper. And we're going to talk about it. First of all, I'm just going to showcase to you the rotation right off the bat. And I'll talk about it as we go. So first, I'm just going to show you the rotation, right? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to spawn your Blood Fiend, you're going to spawn your Golem. Now remember, if the boss doesn't have a CC bar or won't get a CC bar for the entire phase, you actually don't need to run this. You can swap it out for the Lich form. You just enter Lich form and then press 4, which will unleash a bunch of shit on the ground that does damage. Because if you don't need CC, then you don't need Flesh Golem. There are some raid bosses that basically don't need CC. For example, on Deimos, if you play Reaper on Deimos, the only real CC thing is on Saul. Whenever you go in the Death Realm, and then you that's where you can CC. But it's gonna be CC'd by other players, and the CC bar breaks down really quick. So it's not even your job to CC there, honestly, because CC bar is so slow, and the elite skill is so much CC. It breaks the CC bar really hard because it launches and it knocks down. It's crazy. Like, the Flesh Golem is a really good CC. So most of the time, though, you're gonna run it. You're gonna run that, and you're gonna run wells because you're gonna put the wells as part of your rotation. So let me go ahead and eat food. This is the type of food we use. We use bowl of sweet spicy butternut squash soup, and we also use the the potent spear sharpening stone. If you're playing in Fractals, you're gonna be using powerful potion of slaying scarlet armies. Once you reach 98 cm. Was it 98 cm? I think it was the nightmare one. That's correct. Yeah, so during that one, you want to use the powerful potion of slaying scarlet, which will deal 10% more damage to Toxic Alliance, Watchwork, Aether Blade, etc., etc. Basically, use it at the end of 99 cm, and as you move to 98 cm, it's going to be useful the whole way around. Okay, so let's just start with the rotation. I'm going to show you guys the rotation, and I'll let you guys follow along. I'm going to zoom into my hotbar here, and let's do it. So here we go. And there you have it. That's primarily the rotation that you're going to be seeing. And here is generally the damage that I've dealt. And here is the graph. So we did 31k DPS. I think the highest that's ever been reached is 33k. Last time I checked on the benchmark. 33k I think was the highest, so we're about 31k. So generally if you're super optimal and you have the best ping ever, you're probably going to get even better than this. But first, let's actually explain what the hell just happened, right? More importantly, what were we doing with our greatsword there with our 2-1? So let me go ahead and explain a lot of things here. But basically, you're going to start with greatsword first. Right, you will start with greatsword, and then you're going to press 5-4 on greatsword, which is a pull, and then nightfall, which will put stuff. It's going to put shit on the ground, right? This is your opener. 5-4. And then double well, suffering and well of darkness. So 5-4, well, other well, F1, use your 4, and then spam 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2, 3. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 4, 5, weapon swap, axe 2, drop wells again because they will be back up, F1, 4 again. And that's pretty much what you're going to be repeating. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, weapon swap, 2, weapon swap back to greatsword, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 5, 4, drop wells, enter 4. While the wells are on the ground, you're doing all this damage as well. And you can do 6 chain attacks. That's 4, 5, 6. Swap, 2, 3, 1, 1. And you can do 2 chain attacks here. That's the idea. Okay, think of it like this, right? When you're outside of shroud form, you're gonna do 2 chain attacks with your 1. Why? Because it gives you life force. And if you complete the chain, you'll get a boost of life force. See that life force gain right there after the 3rd hit? It's immense. Also, pretty important to keep in mind, with Reaper, press Control and then right click on your greatsword number 1. What this will do is it will enable auto attack. It will put arrows around the ability, which will, as shown here. If you don't do that, it'll be like this. If you do it, it'll be like that. Now, why do we do that? Because when we drop the boss at 50% and under, your Gravedigger threshold becomes basically spammable. You can literally spam it. You can literally spam it like this over and over and over and over and over and over. But there is an optimal way to get many Gravediggers really quickly, and that's by pressing 2 and 1 together. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna press 2 and then 1 together, because it fucks with the aftercast and makes it so you're able to cast Gravedigger faster. So here's how it looks, right? 2 1 2 1 2 1, just like that. And you're gonna see right there that I'm casting Gravedigger much faster. And remember that this can crit, by the way. Okay, now if I just spam 2, here's how it looks. See that? Different, isn't it? Now 2-1. Look at that. Speeds up. Just like that. So this can only happen when the boss is under 50%. Now you may crit or you may not, because your crit, remember, is not 100% chance. I mean, you're gonna be at 80%. So if it does crit, you're lucky. You're gonna do, you know, higher DPS. If it doesn't crit, unlucky. But this is basically the rotation, right? So once again, 7 auto attack chains only in the opener, right? So 5, 4, well number 1, well number 2. Always put both wells together. Enter Shroud form, 4. Now you can press 3 here, by the way, during your 4, because it will give you dark armor that grants stability, reduces incoming damage. So you can press this to give stability to yourself for an incoming like mechanic. Let's say Deimos Pizza. You can be like, I'm gonna press that so I can't be knocked back. And then you're literally gonna be like spinning and you're gonna have that thing on top of you. Which is gonna be huge, by the way, in a lot of situations. So feel free to use that when given the opportunity. Because not only does it reduce damage, overall damage to you, but it also basically gives you stability for free. So use it whenever you can. I find it pretty useful in a lot of situations to actually use, and also when you use it afterwards, it will do like a fear, like a CC. So if you need CC for like a little bit of extra thing, or there are like mobs around in some, you know, in Wing 3 for example, or like pre-Matthias rather, pre-Matthias, like in Wing 2, with the trio, you can like fear the mobs and stuff like that. So remember, 5-4 in the opener. Okay, let's take it step by step now. 5-4, well number 1, well number 2, F1, spin, and then you're gonna 1-1-1 7 times. Okay, for the sake of time, let me reset the. Quickly reset the what do you call it, the golem, because we beat the shit out of it. Too much damage, man, what can I say? Hella deeps. Okay, so 5-4, well number 1, well number 2, F1, 4. You're gonna spin like that. You're gonna do 7 auto attack chains with life run. Okay, so you're literally gonna hold it down 7 times. You'll know when the 3rd attack hit is when your character does a swirl. Like that one. 1, 2, swirl. 1, 2, swirl. 1, 2, swirl. And that swirl, by the way, is seriously insane cleave. Like, it swirls a lot. It literally cleaves so much there. So, okay. So after we do all that swirling 7 times, right? We're gonna get out of Shroud form. Don't let it finish. Remember to cancel it after 7 auto attack chains, okay? The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna press 2, then 3. Now, 3 is let me just tell you this. 3 is an incredible source for getting back life force. It's so good. So if you ever find yourself running out of life force, use your 3. Right? So after we press 2, 3, you're gonna do 2 auto attack chains with your greatsword. Okay? 2 auto attack chains. The 3rd hit gives you a bunch of life force. So you're gonna do 2 auto attack chains, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. After that, your 4 and your 5 are gonna be back up. Now, here's why we stay in Shroud form for only like a certain amount of times, because your Nightfall and your Grasping Darkness will have to be up. Your Well of Suffering and your Well of Darkness also need to be up. Now notice these are 25 seconds, and this is 25 seconds, and this is 25 seconds. The idea is Nightfall, Grasping Darkness, Well of Suffering, and Well of Darkness. You want to line up those 4 abilities together as much as you can when you're in Greatsword. Okay, so when you combo now, after you do auto attack chain 3 times, so 1 and then 2, you're gonna 4, 5. Now you're probably wondering, oh, why are you changing it now? Why are you doing 4, 5 when in the beginning you did 5, 4? Here is why. Because the aftercast of Grasping Darkness can be cancelled with a weapon swap. Keep in mind that in Guild Wars 2, there's this mechanic called certain abilities have priorities over certain abilities, right? For example, if you play Warrior, every time you weapon swap, you can literally cancel your F1 axe, for example. Like you can literally cancel abilities with weapon swap. So even if I were to spin, I can cancel it with F1, and the spin will never finish because I canceled my F1. You know, same thing with 2. If I press axe 2 and I weapon swap, it canceled my axe 2. Same thing here. Think of this the same thing with Grasping Darkness. Okay, you're canceling the full animation of it. This is the full animation. Okay, the Grasping Darkness will already be out, so you can cancel that entire animation with a weapon swap. So you can Nightfall, Grasping Darkness, weapon swap. Okay, so that's how it works. After you weapon swap, you're gonna press here 2. So let me just showcase this right now. And you know what? Let me get rid of this stupid golem shits. Get away, jerk. He's not gonna get away, but at least this one's gone. Okay. So here's how it's gonna go, right? 1, 2, 4, 5, okay? So after you land 2 auto attack chains outside of Shroud form, you're gonna 4, 5 weapon swap. See, the claw is already out. The claw is already out, and then we immediately 2. See, we waste as little time as possible. Remember, every second counts when you're dealing DPS, and right there, we save time by canceling the entire animation, like the aftercast of it, of Grasping Darkness, the claw, and we immediately are an axe. By the time I'm an axe, the claw is already coming back. You know, like the moment I threw my claw, right, I'm already in my axe. So it's a little thing you can optimize to make sure you get the highest amount of DPS possible. Every second counts, just remember. Okay, so here I'll show it again, okay? 4, 5, weapon swap, 2. The claw is already out, I'm already in X. And after you do that, you're gonna put down 2 of your wells, and then you're gonna enter Shroud form, and then you're gonna spin. And then you're gonna do 6 auto attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, sword, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Basically, it's gonna be like that. And you're gonna repeat that. Remember, in the opener, do 7 life rend attacks with your basic attack. Later on, you're gonna do 6 because you have to manage your life force. Because initially you're gonna be either full life force, if you are full life force, of course. You want to start the bosses with full life force, and I know that's not exactly easy to always get full life force right in the beginning, but try to have full life force if you can, right in the beginning of the boss. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the most optimal opener, and then you'll have to readjust and stuff like that. Maybe you will have to farm a bit more life force on the boss before doing your full opener and stuff like that. Okay? So now I'm going to show you guys again, and I'm going to talk really fast, okay? So here's how it goes, okay? Start with 5, remember. 5, 4. Okay? 5, 4, double wells. F1, 4. 1, 1, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, F1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 5, weapon swap, 2, Wells, double wells, double wells. F1 4 3. 1 1 2 3 4 5 6. F1 2. Swap the sword. 2 3. 1 1 1 1 1 5 4. Wells. F1 4. 2 3 4 5 6. F1 2 3. 1 1 1 1 1 1 4 5. Weapon swap. 2. Drop both wills. Spin again. 1 1 2 3 4 5 6. F1 2. Weapon swap. 2 3 1 1 1 1 1 1 5 4. Double wells. Just like that. 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 2 3 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 4 5. Weapon swap. 2. Double wells. F1 4. 1 1 2 3 4 5 6. F1 2. Weapon swap. 2 3. 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 until it dies, and now there you have it. So that's pretty much the rotation for Reaper. Now there is one thing you absolutely need to make sure of. You never ever ever cancel your 2 with wells. Remember that if you press 2 and then you immediately use wells after that, you will not be able to get every single tick of life force that you get from this, and you won't do the damage from it. Because Ghastly Claws does a lot of damage. Like, it shreds. Look at that. That seriously hurts. It's very strong. So don't go and do this, right? Because if you do this and then well, it will cancel the 2. See, I didn't even get the full animation of 2. And you never want to do that. It's extremely suboptimal, especially when 2 not only does a lot of damage, but it gives you life force and a shit ton of it, right? So you never want to fuck it up. Every time, just remember, when you exit life force and axe, press 2, and then weapon swap, okay? And then 2, 3, and if the boss is under 50% health threshold, you can press 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 over and over to make sure that your 2 is casting faster, as long as you have, as long as you're pressing 1 with the auto attack chain on it. That's honestly pretty much the rotation for Reaper. It's nothing too overcomplicated, nothing too crazy. It's pretty simplistic in its rotation. Other classes are obviously they have their complexities with DPS and stuff like that, but it's a pretty damn good class, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and you're gonna enjoy the DPS you do in Fractals. It has extremely good cleave, very good single target damage, very self-reliable, self-quickness, precision, critical chance, you name it, it literally has it all. It's a very good DPS class. It doesn't have to be 40k DPS to be optimal. Like, I can reach 31k DPS with this. Sometimes I reach 32k and stuff like that. Like, it's a solid class. And basically, this is the build and this is the equipment. But yeah, I think there is pretty much that's pretty much the main things you need to know with Reaper. Just know that this is not a class you generally play for Condi focused raid bosses, because Condi focused raid bosses like Matthias, for example, you don't want to play Reaper on Matthias. It's extremely suboptimal. You're not going to make full use of the class. You're better off playing Condi, because Matthias can go vulnerable very often, and you're just not going to make full use of Reaper. So just remember that in some bosses, Reaper is very good, and in some bosses, Reaper is not good. And you'd much rather have a damage over time Condi class, like, let's say, Condi Scourge. Condi Scourge would be a nice class to have as a Condi. Condi Renegade, that's my personal favorite. I have a guide on that. So just make sure you diversify. Just know that Reaper, you can play Reaper literally from Wing 1 up to Wing 7 in so many of the bosses that are power focused, of course, right? So this applies to many of them. Just be sure to know which ones are Condi. And the main ones that are Condi, I'm going to tell you right now. The primary ones that you need to know of are Matthias in Wing 2. In Wing 3, not necessarily, because you can play Reaper on Zera. You can play Reaper on Casey. It's fine. You can play those. So Wing 3, Wing 4, you can play it except for Cairn. The first boss in Wing 4, Cairn, you generally like Condi DPS there over Reaper. Doesn't mean that you can't play Reaper. It's just you should just play Condi there. Reaper's good everywhere else in Wing 4 except Cairn. Wing 5, it's solid as well. Just Wing 5, you're better off bringing Condi for Solace Horror. For Doom, you can play Condi as well, or Power. Condi is really good on Doom. For Wing 6, Reaper can also work just fine. You have Kadim 1 where you can play Reaper. Reaper is actually very good at solo lamping, by the way. So if you play Wing 6 and you want to do lamp, Reaper is solid at lamp. Like, you can literally solo lamp and not bother because you have so much survivability. You can survive lamp solo, right? It's huge. Like, Reaper is sick. So if you want to play Wing 6 and you want to do lamp, play Reaper. I play Daredevil personally when I do lamp, but Reaper is a solid option for that as well. So you can play lamp on Kadim 1. Wing 6 generally, it's good. It's fine to play Reaper. Just don't play it on Largos. On Largos, you really want Condi damage because the boss moves a lot. You're not going to be able to get the maximum damage that you can. By the way, this Flesh Golem just does not want to stop hitting the Golem, and he's goddamn annoying. Let's just move away from him real quick. God damn, what an annoying asshole. Okay. And then, obviously, finally, Wing 7, you have, like, Wing 7 is my favorite wing, by the way. You have Kadim 2, you can potentially play Reaper there. I don't see a downside in playing Reaper in Wing 7, Kadim 2. Adina, it's really good on Adina. Just don't play it on Sabir. On Sabir, you just gonna keep getting pushed back, and you just cannot enter melee range, and it sucks. So, if you're playing on Sabir, you're better off playing Condi DPS. Play Renegade, play Firebrand Condi, whatever you want. Just don't play Reaper on Wing 7 Sabir. You're not going to have a good time. And you're going to do less damage because you're not going to be able to reach the boss during the mechanic where he just constantly pushes you away. And it just sucks. You can put your wells on him from a distance, but your 4 won't be on the boss. And I don't know. I'm just not a fan of like missing DPS like this. And you just can't even like hit him, and imagine like being in a position where you're constantly being pushed back and you can never reach the boss. I would never play Reaper on Sabir. So yeah, honestly guys, like that is really about it for Reaper. Thank you guys very much for watching. This is just a general how to play Reaper guide, rotation, skills, everything like that, equipment, and enjoy Reaper. I think it's a solid class, and show the peeps that Reaper is not to be fucked with. It's a very strong class, it's very self-reliable, and it kicks ass, and that's all that matters. Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to check out my other Guild Wars 2 guide raid videos. You can check them out in my playlist. And be sure to follow us on twitch.tv/Alninio9. We're kind of playing basically both Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2, by the way. But I figured I'd return to Guild Wars 2 with another guide that I've been really wanting to make for one of my favorite classes in the game, Reaper, baby. It's sick. So, I love it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have yourselves a blessed one. Peace out.